Thank you, Marco. And we'll try to do this really quickly. Basically, I'd like to, if I can get my slides up. You got slides up? No slides. We don't need stinking slides. I'm clicking. Do we have slides? You don't have slides? We called and we checked several times, so we'll do it without slides. This is the fun way. No, we sent several. We have lots of slides, but who gives a shit? Yeah, we don't need, there's this movie called The Treasure of Sierra Madre. Have you ever seen that movie with Humphrey Bogart? There's a spectacular moment in that movie when the banditos, the bandits, come to these guys and they say, well, you say you're policemen, show us your badges. And they say, we don't need no stinking badges, man, so we don't need no slides. The bottom line is that venture capital is a wonderful thing if you're on the inside. If you're on the outside, it's sort of an object of envy. And when you realize how much money is being made today in this private investment class and how few people are benefiting from it, it's really outrageous. The reality is that in the good old days, the rest of us could wait for a tech company to go public, because that's what they did, right? Microsoft went public, not when it was valued at $1 billion. Can you believe that? Oracle went public, not when it was valued at $1 billion. Amazon, Apple Computer. And if you bought those stocks back in those days and you held them, how much money did you make? Twice your money? 3 times your money? 5 times? 10? Come on. 100? 500 times your money in a public stock. That's a thing of great beauty, right? That's what the public markets are supposed to do. Except today, it's gotten a little bit weird. What's weird? Well, on the one hand, tech companies are more important than ever, right? The top 10 companies in the world are all tech companies. Used to be car companies, banks, real estate, oil and gas. No more. It's all tech. Except there's one problem. No one gives, a shit about the public. The public doesn't get a chance to invest. So you have tech companies like Uber at $70 billion valuation, rumored last, although it's, complicated. And the public's not invited yet. Airbnb at $30 billion, public not invited. When the public gets invited, like at Dropbox now, prices are actually going down a little bit, but the prices are still crazy. So the best public companies today, take Facebook for example, a wonderful company. If you bought the Facebook IPO, you made 3 or 4 times your money. Great, wonderful. It ain't 500 times. So what do? We dream. We say, okay, if I only had $3 million or $4 million or $5 million to be an LP in one of the great venture funds that we see here, cool. Except if you're going to hand over $5 million to a single venture advisor, how much money should you really have? First of all, you should do 3 or 4 advisors, right? So you should probably be investing $15, $20 million in the asset class. And how much should you put in the asset class? 10%? That's pretty cowboy style. That's like Yale University, right? 12% of the endowment in venture. So that means you better have 200 million. Well, thank God there are people who have 200 million, or there wouldn't be a venture capital market. But if you don't have 200 million, what are you? Chopped liver, screwed, nothing, not invited. Right? We don't want you. I want you, they don't want you. So the other option is become an angel, right? Find these great companies, put your money in individually. Now, there are some really good angels out there, For most people, it's not an option, right? Because you want to invest $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, that doesn't do it for the company. Company needs $500,000, $1 million, even at the earliest stages, even today. And so now you got to get your friends together, and now you got to go do the legal, and you got to do the due diligence. So along comes this thing called equity crowdfunding. And the idea behind equity crowdfunding is really simple, at least the way that we do it at OurCrowd. Find a way to get you and thousands and tens of thousands, and in the not too distant future, hundreds of thousands of you, so that you can buy into private companies the way that the big boys and the big girls do. Not the second best companies, the companies you're seeing here today. The companies that are on the Fast Company list of the 10 most innovative Israeli companies. They just published it 2 weeks ago, 10 Israeli companies. We have 4 on OurCrowd. Last year we had 3. Forbes just published the 4 hot companies for Tel Aviv to look at. We had 2 of the 4. We have 7 of our companies here today presenting at different times. So the idea is, can you find a way to put great companies in front of individual investors, give them access, do the diligence for them, do the legal for them, and manage the investment the way that venture capitalists do, report, sit on the board, lead rounds, invest in future ongoing rounds, and that's what we do. So we started 5 years ago. We now have about $700 million under management. We're going to double again this year, right? We're going to be well over $1 billion under management. And we hope that in the next 5 years, we're going to be $5 or $10 billion under management. And this is all coming from 25,000 individual investors around the world. Now, a funny thing happened along the way to building this crowdfunding platform is that institutions came knocking on our door and said, wait a minute, you guys are putting together this platform. You have cool companies like Zebra or Empress or BioCatch or CropX or Tyrannus or, and even funds now, right? So you can invest in Medved, which has companies that you saw yesterday like AutoTalks or, Autonomo. You can invest in Cure and a digital health fund. How come the institution can't invest? I said, who said institutions can't come? Just because our minimum is $10,000 doesn't mean you can't invest $10 million if you'd like. And so now this is what's driving us, is that family offices and institutional investors are saying, we want in too. We want a platform where we can choose our investments. We don't have to pay anything up front. We're not paying anything for committed capital. We only pay for what we actually deploy. And we can choose either an individual investment or a fund. And this thing seems to be working. The trick is going to be not just can we get into good companies and raise the money. I think that much has been proven. The trick is, can we find a different and maybe even somewhat better in some ways to build these companies by mobilizing the power of the crowd. Because let's face it, in venture capital, you're really dependent on the connections of the 3 or the 4 partners who, if they're good, they really have a good set of connections and they work hard and they manage the companies. But which 3 or 4 partners can compete with an educated, connected crowd of 25,000? Right? When you have this horde, this crowd, who are going to get behind these early stage companies and help them grow, you can really begin to do some interesting things. You can make all kinds of connections, you can hire people, you can help build awareness in our hyper-networked world. So our focus at the moment is really moving not just from finding good deals, but to how do we help build the companies with the crowd. So we didn't need slides after all, and I'm going to make it short and sweet. We'd love to see you on our platform. It's www.ourcrowd.com. Okay, it's really simple. OurCrowd. We got Noah here from our IR if you want to do it the old-fashioned way and actually talk to a human, not a robot. But we do have a pretty robust platform. We have great companies, really great deal flow. We're investing in drones, we're investing in ag tech and digital health and cybersecurity, of course, and tons of automotive. And the companies are cool. And the companies, ask the companies who are on our platform what they think about us, and join us as investors, as entrepreneurs, as corporate partners, and even as institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And they found your slides, and they will be online. One little check. When John told me, hey, Marco, OurCrowd is really important in the ecosystem. My first question was, okay, out of the 70 speakers, how many companies you invested in? And it's 14.
Yeah, we have a lot of companies.
So 14 companies here on stage you could have invested in through OurCrowd.
Thank you very much, Marco.
Anyway,
and by the way,
you.
welcome to Tel Aviv. This is great that NOAH's here. We look forward to seeing you every year.